It is the last week of July, which means I now own this bicycle for a year. And I had to tell you, I still really dig this bike. I'm still completely convinced I got the best bike available. In fact, I'm more convinced now than I was a year ago when I got it. Well, let's point out a couple things here. There are a ton of features I like on this bike over others. Well, first of all, look at this. My patootie really likes this big, thick, squishy seat on there. It's like driving around in your favorite chair. Another really good feature, something that I thought was a gimmick and now I really like, is this pedal forward design here. You can see that crankset is well forward of the down tube, and that down tube, because the battery is really forward anyway, so you know, it is about 6 or 8 inches forward of a regular bike. And when I get on a regular bike, I notice that almost right away. When you're riding along, cruising along at this, it just makes your cruising posture, it's just more relaxed and laid back. The handlebars, they have the good rise on them. They're good design, good sweep. I wish they were a little bit longer back toward the rider a bit more, but I've kind of fixed that by MacGyvering it a little bit. Another thing I really like is the weight of it. Now here's the thing, e-bikes are heavy, and e-bikes in this class here, this cruiser class, I suppose you would say, of e-bikes, they're usually in the anywhere from 70 to 80 pounds. This one is 50 pounds with the battery, and it's 35 pounds without the battery. And that's because the whole frame is all aluminum. Now, I haven't gotten down and measured it with a micrometer, but when I have looked down the seat tube, down the handlebars, just a quick look, I think it's probably made of 120 wall aluminum. That's pretty significant aluminum. Here's something else I want you to notice. Look at these welds. None of this are press fits into formed gussets. Every bit of this is welded on there. And look at the welds. If you know anything about welding, you can recognize laying dimes when you see it, and that is as clear an example of laying dimes I've ever seen. That takes talent. I have tried to weld aluminum a few times in this life, not one time successfully. So I can admire those welds. Here, though, I think is the thing I like best about it, and that is the motor battery combination. After a year, I now have 1,900 miles on this bicycle. I would have had a couple hundred more miles, but it has this summer, since the 1st of June, has just been incredibly hot. Even for us down here at the 27th latitude, it's hot. So I don't go on the longer rides that I had gotten used to taking. Now I'll still take it to the grocery store, produce stands, things like that, even the hardware store. Little 5 or maybe 10 mile runs. But the 20-25 mile runs that I enjoy taking, it's just too hot. This summer, well, so far it hasn't happened. So far I've managed to make doctor appointments at the VA on this bicycle. Now I can take the Pinellas Trail, and that makes it 9 miles one way. Sometimes if I'm there a little later than I imagine, the trip home is a bit hot. When I go to the library, that is, well, I've forgotten now, 16 or 17 miles round trip. And the library doesn't open until 10, so that can sometimes be a little hot. But those are the trips that I rarely make anymore because it's just been so ridiculous. But overall, I still, oh, here's the thing, in that 1900 miles, I have charged, that battery has been charged only 19 times. I still get, a year later, better than 100 miles per charge. Now that's from 100% charge down to 20% charge. I'll go better than 100 miles still after a year. I couldn't be happier with that. I know people, I have a friend of mine, well, not a friend of mine, a guy I know who has a bike. I've forgotten what kind it is. It's a bike that you've heard of, Rad Power, Pedigo, one of those things. He's really proud of the fact that he gets sometimes 50, even 60 miles per charge. He's just absolutely knocked over that I get 100 miles every time. Here's another thing. His bike, also a cruiser type, is unbelievably heavy. You can feel it the moment you get on it. And you can also feel the difference in that pedal forward design. Again, that's a nice feature. This bike, when I'm out riding this bike, especially on a longer run, I will run into people who ask about the bike. This is 6 or 8 times over the last year, people have stopped, asked me about it, and we end up changing bicycles for, you know, half a mile, whatever it is. Every time I'm more convinced this is the best bike. If you're doing what I'm doing, which is, I just cruise around 6, 7, 8 miles an hour, that's all I'm interested in doing. This is a beach cruiser. That's how I use it. I'm not interested in going really fast. In fact, I have everything on this bike dialed way back. Well, I have top speed dialed down to 13 miles an hour. I had no need. In fact, I haven't even gotten that quick yet. I'll use that when I'm going across a busy road or something like that. And I'll just use the twist grip for that. You can twist it right here. But you can change from level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you want, up here on this dashboard, let's call it. But I have level 1 and 2 dialed way back. In fact, right now, level 2 I have dialed back further, dialed back lower than level 1 was. Excuse me. Than level 1 was when I got it from Tower. At 3, 4, 5, I just don't use them. Level 2 I only use when I'm going over a bridge. You know, I'm out here on the island, and to get to this park where I am right now, there's a bridge I have to go over to get over here to the mainland, let's call it. Going over that bridge, I'm in level 2. Get over the bridge, back to level 1, 6, 7, 8 miles an hour, there I am. The bike is just really good. There aren't any major disappointments. One thing that bothers me is that the brakes, they're disc brakes, they're hydraulic disc brakes. They're nice, but there's a lot of chatter in them, especially the rear brake. Now, if you go to Tower's website, they'll offer some remedies on how to fix that. I've tried it multiple times. There's still chatter. It's not a deal breaker, but it's really annoying that they chatter. I've not heard that chatter in any other bicycle that I've tried, but I'll keep at it until maybe somehow I can fix that chatter. But so far it hasn't. And again, it doesn't seem to do anything about the effectiveness of the brakes. It just makes a noise. Not a deal breaker, just something that's bothersome. Overall, I'll tell you again, just completely convinced that if you're doing what I do, riding up and down the beaches and back and forth to the library or the store, just cruising, you want a beach cruiser, this is the best available. Just a great bike. Really pleased with this thing.